Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the most famous plays ever written, Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. We're going to break down the perfect, or maybe I should say, the perfectly awful recipe for a tragedy. Right out of the gate, Shakespeare does something pretty wild. He gives away the ending. He just lays it all out for us. There are two enemy families, their kids fall in love, and, well, they're not going to make it. So that's the big question, isn't it? If we already know what happens, why do we keep coming back to this story? Well, the genius here isn't in the what, it's in the how and the why. It's about seeing how all the pieces fall into place to make that tragic ending feel completely, totally inevitable. To really get it, we're going to look at this as a recipe with 5 key ingredients. First, you've got the ancient grudge. Then, you mix in a rebellious love. You turn up the heat with the accelerator of haste, throw in a chain of misfortune, and what do you get? The ultimate price of peace. All right, let's start with ingredient number 1, the ancient grudge. This isn't some petty argument. This is a deep, toxic hatred that has been poisoning the city of Verona for generations. It's the very air everyone breathes. So, you've got 2 major players here. On one side, the Montagues, that's Romeo's family. On the other, the Capulets, Juliet's family. And these guys are sworn enemies. If you're part of one of these households, you are automatically at war with the other. There's no middle ground. And this feud is so bad, it's constantly spilling out into public brawls. It gets so out of hand that the Prince of Verona has to step in and lay down the law. He basically says, the next person who starts a fight in my streets is going to be executed. So, from the very beginning, the stakes are literally life and death. And if you want to understand just how intense this hatred is, you just have to listen to Tybalt, Juliet's cousin. When someone tries to break up a fight, this is his response. He hates peace as much as he hates hell and the Montagues. There's no reasoning here. It's just pure, visceral hatred. And this is the world our 2 lovers are about to walk into. Now, into this pressure cooker of absolute hate, Shakespeare adds the second crucial ingredient, its complete opposite, a pure, powerful love that is, by its very nature, an act of rebellion. It all kicks off when Romeo, who's moping over some other girl, decides to crash a Capulet party. The second he lays eyes on Juliet, it's over. Game changer. It is love at first sight. But think about it. He's a Montague at a Capulet party, falling for the Capulet's daughter. This is a huge risk. And Juliet feels that same spark. But then comes that crushing moment of discovery when she finds out who he is. This line says it all, doesn't it? The one person she loves is the one person she's been raised to hate. Suddenly, the conflict isn't just in the streets of Verona, it's inside their own hearts. And this is exactly what Shakespeare meant by star-crossed. It's this idea that their love is being sabotaged by forces way bigger than them. It's not about them as people. It's about their families, their world, and maybe even fate itself, all conspiring against them. Okay, so you've got hate, you've got love. Now for the third ingredient, the one that really lights the fuse, speed. Everything, and I mean everything, in this play happens way, way too fast. You know, Friar Laurence, who's sort of the voice of reason in all this chaos, gives Romeo this exact warning. Slow down, he says. People who run too fast end up stumbling. It's just perfect foreshadowing, because of course, nobody listens. They don't just stumble, they sprint right off a cliff. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's insane. They meet on day 1. By the very next day, they're married, 2 people are dead, and Romeo is banished from the city. By day 4, it's all over. The entire story unfolds in less than 4 days. There's simply no time to think, no time to talk things through. Every decision is a snap decision, and it just spirals faster and faster. Which leads us straight to our 4th ingredient, a chain of pure misfortune. Because when you combine a terrible situation with that kind of reckless speed, you end up with desperate plans. And desperate plans have a nasty habit of going horribly wrong. So Romeo's been banished, and now Juliet's parents are trying to force her to marry this other guy, Paris. She's desperate, so she runs to Friar Laurence, who comes up with this incredibly risky plan. He gives her a potion that will make her look dead for 42 hours. The idea is her family will lay her in their tomb, and Romeo can come get her when she wakes up. What could possibly go wrong? Now, for this plan to actually work, Every single step has to be executed perfectly. It's like a line of dominoes. Juliet takes the potion, her family buys it, the message has to get to Romeo, and Romeo has to show up at the exact right moment. There is zero room for error.
And here it is, the fatal flaw. The one domino that falls the wrong way and brings the whole thing crashing down. The letter with the plan never makes it to Romeo. Instead, his servant, who has no idea what's going on, sees Juliet's funeral and runs to tell Romeo that she's dead. For real. And in this story, bad news travels a whole lot faster than the truth.
And so, we've arrived at the final ingredient. You've got the hatred, the forbidden love, the insane speed, and the failed plan all simmering together. The stage is set for the only possible conclusion, and the terrible, terrible price that has to be paid. Romeo, absolutely shattered with grief, rushes back to Verona. He gets to the tomb, finds Paris there, and kills him. Then, seeing Juliet, who he believes is gone forever, he drinks poison and dies next to her. And then, just moments later, she wakes up. She sees her husband is dead, and without a second thought, she takes his dagger and ends her own life. It is a tragedy of the absolute worst timing.
And in the end, it all boils down to this. This is the simple, brutal math of that ancient grudge. 2 young people, gone. And this is the ultimate heartbreaking irony, something Shakespeare told us was coming from the very first page. The only thing that could finally end the family's pointless fighting was the death of their own children. Peace comes to Verona, but it's a peace built on top of their graves. So, what do we take away from this? Were Romeo and Juliet just doomed from the start, star-crossed puppets of fate with no real choice? Or is this story a timeless warning about how very human things, like hatred and rashness and miscommunication, can create a tragedy all on their own? You know, maybe the real power of the play is that the answer is both. And that's why, even after 400 years, we just can't seem to look away.